I'm James Lynch, and this is my stock report for UFC Winnipeg, taking a look at the biggest winners and losers from the event. I'm still camping right now, but I wanted to get this out and talk about the event. I do have Wi-Fi here, so I was able to catch up on everything from the card. First biggest stock riser on this card, don't think it's a big surprise here. It's got to be Mike Malott. Big win in the third round against Gilbert Burns. Malott did what he needed to do. That's kind of the best way to put it. You're not fighting the Gilbert Burns that fought Kamaru Usman for the title. You're getting a much older Gilbert Burns who did retire after this fight. So I thought, all things considered, this was sort of the test that he had a couple years ago against Neil Magny. And obviously he didn't pass that. He lost to Neil Magny in that fight. But he goes out there and gets the TKO victory on Gilbert Burns in this fight. And I thought that was a very solid win for Mike Malott. It's good. Look, you guys have to remember that they're going to continue to go back to Canada. They're going to continue to use Malott. They're going to slowly build him up. I know he's an older fighter, but this was a good step in the right direction. He'll continue to get ranked opponents. I think someone like a Jeff Neal would probably be the next step after this, although I guess Neal's not ranked anymore. But someone along that caliber, someone that's like a veteran. Like, I know we've heard some rumblings about like Leon Edwards fighting Daniel Rodriguez next. I think Leon and Mike Malott is another fight that makes sense. I know people think that the Colby fight's still out there. Maybe. I don't know. I still don't think Colby's going to come back and fight in the UFC, so not entirely sure if that fight does come to fruition. The Colby fight would also make sense, but I think for Malott, it's probably going to be another like veteran. I don't think he's going to get like a really steep test in this one unless they do want to throw him in the deep end here, but good one for Malott. Just, again, I think I speak for a lot of people when it's like, it's not the type of win where you're like, he's going to go on some title run, right? Like, we need to see a little bit more because Gilbert Burns, like I said, just retired after the fight. Second biggest stock riser on this card has to be Charles Jordane, co-main event. Really good performance against Kyler Phillips. He was a favorite going in. Yes, a lot of people felt like he was going to win, but Kyler was a good test for him. Kyler previously ranked. I think that's the type of performance you need to put on, especially in a co-main event. Jordane, think he's found new life in this weight class. Seems to be a lot more consistent here. Not sure what's next for him. Don't know if, I guess I could continue to move him up in these spots here. Like, again, it'll probably be someone like a Cheeto Vera. Someone like that would make sense. I think if we're looking at, sort of his progression in the weight class, I think that would, suffice. But yeah, good win. Would have been nice to see you get a finish, but again, Kyler Phillips I don't think was finished in the UFC, so I think for Jordane, it's just about continuing to rack up those wins, and he's relatively young, that like he could still make a decent run here in the weight class, so big win there for Charles Jordane in the co-main event. Third biggest stock riser on this card for me, it's got to be Gage Young. Really good performance against Thiago Moises. I know Moises was coming in off a losing streak, but if you go look at the significant strikes in the fight, he outlanded him something like 144 to like 70 something. I forget. It was like a huge difference. And, Thiago Moises, if you look coming into this fight, he's only really lost to some of the best opponents, minus Jared Gordon. Obviously, Gordon a little bit older, but he's lost to like Islam and Benoit Saint Denis. And so for Gage Young to go in there with not a lot of experience, he's only got a couple of UFC fights, for him to go in there and get a win like that in dominant fashion, I thought was very impressive. He's another guy that's very young on the roster, so for me, huge stock rise here because again, he just beat a guy who was previously ranked, someone that at one point was thought of as being like a bit of a prospect in the weight class. Obviously, that's not happening now. So those are your big three stock risers as far as that goes. A couple honorable mentions. We can talk about someone like you can talk about Jasmine for sure as far as an honorable mention. It was a fight that she was supposed to win. She did win. Don't think there was anything overly impressive about the victory, but again, coming off that loss to Manon Fior, she just needed to go out there and get the victory there. So Jasmine getting a win was good there. Got to give an honorable mention out to Jai Herbert as well, going out there and having that war with Mandel Nallo. Like, I don't know what Jai's stock was going in, but when you look back on this card, that's going to be one of the memories. Was the big fight with Nallo, absolute war between the two of them. Looked like Nallo had him, and then he didn't, and he ends up getting finished there. So those are my two honorable mentions. Would be Jai Herbert. And then obviously there was the knockout win in the Bazooka fight as well. The Brazilian, got to give him his flowers as well. Getting a stock rise just because again that was another big highlight on the card here. That he would get a nod as well as far as an honorable mention, but not a lot to take away from this card as far as the matchmaking and all that. Okay, let's get to our stock droppers right now. Biggest stock, Gilbert Burns, don't really count him. He's retired. There's no real stock at this point. Biggest stock dropper for me actually is going to be Thiago Moises. And look, he was an underdog going in this fight, but I will argue the fact that he has just had a huge fall off. If you remember, again, it was kind of a badge of honor for him a couple fights ago, well, more than a couple fights ago, when he fought Islam and he went like deep into the fight with him, and then he ends up getting finished. And now that's a distant memory. Now he's on, I think, back-to-back losses now. Didn't get finished in this fight, but he got finished by Jared Gordon, gets taken out now by Gage Young in a fight that wasn't even close. I think this was a very big setback there for Thiago Moises in his career, and he's not that old either. He's like early 30s, so for him to lose that way, I think that's a big stock drop when you're kind of looking at things. Second biggest stock riser, and you can go first biggest stock riser if you want to. Don't think the order really matters, but Kyler Phillips now is on a 3-fight skid, and he had a nice win streak, I think, heading into, the Font fight, and for him to now be on 3 straight losses, he might get cut after this, right? Like, I don't know if he's someone that the UFC views as like being part of the Paramount era as far as like a really exciting fighter. We'll see if they give him one more, but yeah, I mean, remember like the rise in the MMA lab, it was like him and Batista, and Batista's the one that's sort of taken off, and Phillips is gone on a bit of a skid now. So again, I know it was tough to go into enemy territory and fight Jordane, but the optics are what they are, which is that Phillips is now on a bit of a skid here heading in. So Kyler Phillips has got to be another stock dropper on this card. And then if we're looking down the rest of the card as far as other fighters that, whose stock kind of went down a little bit, it's tough because we had a lot of fighters, like we had a couple fighters debuting, a couple fighters returning, like Tanner Boser. I don't know how much stock they really had going in there. If we're kind of going down the list here, I think it would have to be Carney Silva's another stock dropper. Again, she wasn't favored to win, but it's the fact that she just has not found a lot of consistency in the UFC. I think she's got, one win in her last 4 fights or 3 fights or something along those. It would have been 4 fights. She's got 3 losses, I think, 1 win in that span of the 4 fights. So yeah, she's got to be on this list too, as far as, her not doing well, and she's got to get stock drop as well. And then an honorable mention, I'll throw it in there. This one's tough because, I know him quite well, and that's Jamie Siraj. Betting favorite, one of the few betting favorites on this card that lost, ends up getting finished in the first round. I think the weight cut, him taking this on somewhat short notice, hasn't fought in at bantamweight since 2019. I do wonder if that had an effect on his chin, although he has been hit a little bit in the last couple fights too. So this is more so just an honorable mention, not because I didn't think a lot of people felt like Jamie was going to go on some crazy run, but it's the fact that he was a betting favorite, I think almost like a minus 250, and he ends up losing to Yanis on the first fight of the night and gets finished in the first round, so his stock has to go down. But again, this was a bit of a trickier card from the stock report perspective because it wasn't like there weren't like a lot of notable fighters on here where their stock could go up or go down. So those are kind of my picks there. But I think when you kind of look back on this card, what are some of the highlights? I think Malott obviously winning in the main event, so his stock goes up. Again, he'll get someone in that ranked range that fits the bill. Jordane, I think, again, deserves his nod as well. And then, you look at some of the other names like Jasmine, just the context of the division. She's obviously going to move up a little bit from getting that win as well. And then, who else am I missing? And then your stock droppers, I think again, like Moises, Phillips, those are guys that, weren't expected to win, but we got a screaming baby over here. I got to try and move along a little bit. I'm in like a provincial park here right now. That's my stock report. So, didn't want to get this out too late. I'm going to be back tonight. I didn't want to get it out too late tonight. So, this is a camping edition of the stock report. Hope you guys appreciated this. Not as good as my hotel walk back stock report I did in Seattle a couple weeks ago, but this one will come close. I'm going to be doing a lot of camping in the next little bit. Love doing it with my kids and stuff. So maybe we'll do some more camping bets. But for now, thanks for watching the stock report. My name is James Lynch. I'll be back next week for another edition of this. Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, @LynchOnSports. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. I'll talk to you guys soon.